Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So subscribe, comment, like, or share. Right, Ted? You got that all
Absolutely.
down? You got it? Okay.
I
I just want to make sure Ted is in a happy place. That's it. I just want Ted to be happy.
I'm just sharing it to the groups, just making sure I'm doing my daily routine.
Thank you. It's very appreciative. Thank you so much for doing that.
Hey, Joe Guire's live right now.
Oh, the Joseph Aguirre. Also, you can follow him at Twitter at Podcaster Joe, or you can check out Clovercrest Media as well, our very own Clovercrest Media page. So check it out. We have a lot going on today. Like we've been talking about last week, if you're looking for basketball talk, go find a basketball podcast because that right now is kind of out of the way. We are specifically talking baseball and NFL until major news happens in other sports. But we don't know when that's going to be. But we're going to stick to baseball, and then we're going to talk about our other top 10 list. We're going to continue the list, our top 10 list, as we've been doing for the past month or so. This week, it's by Ted. It's our top 10 head coaches in the NFL. And then also, sponsored by Ted's Eats, we have our top 5 subs/sandwiches. So can't wait to look at the list. All the lists are in front of me. I have it. But we're going to start off with baseball. And the reason why we're going to start off with, because we didn't get a chance to talk about Thursday, where the game that we've been waiting for over a year and a half, Yankee fans, 2 years now, but due to all of COVID last year, they didn't have it. And it was the Field of Dreams game. And why I'm bringing up the Field of Dreams game is because how we're going to get into our first part of the show and talking about the bullpen. First, I want to just say the Field of Dreams game was everything I expected it to be. It was a masterpiece. It was beautiful. It was just astonishing to see how it worked. Look, I said this, I've never seen a Field of Dreams, the whole movie. I've seen bits and pieces. But to see the players come out from the cornfield, it just got me chills just to see it. Just everything was beautiful. Just from start to finish, you couldn't have scripted it any better. I know the Yankees lost that game, but it was awesome. The home runs, the Joe Buck calls were even great. And I don't say that a lot because I'm not a big fan of Joe Buck, but his calls in that game were great. And just seeing the home runs flying to the cornfield was just astonishing. By the way, a fan found Giancarlo Stanton's home run ball. There was a video of a guy finding the home run ball in the corn maze. And I just want to get your views on the Field of Dreams games before we get into I'll start with you, Joe, before we get into our first part and why we're talking about the Field of Dreams game.
Yeah, the only part that would make it better is if you saw the actual movie, because it's an awesome movie. I can't believe you've never seen it. If there's a baseball movie to sit through, it's that one. So do yourself the favor. Kudos to Major League Baseball for that promo they put together, by the way, where Frank Thomas was James Earl Jones, because he nailed it. That was really, really good. No, it was a great game. Obviously, we wish the Yankees wouldn't have lost it. I was glad, though, that it ended on a walk-off. I actually thought that was very befitting for the experience. Yeah, I mean, it was great. Again, the Yankees winning the game would have made it better, but you couldn't if you wrote a story as a White Sox fan with Tim Anderson hitting a walk-off into the corn, you wouldn't even have believed it. You wouldn't be like, that's stupid.
That image of like him running the home plate with the fireworks in the background, it just looked like a perfect background wallpaper type thing you could put in your room or something. It looked just that.
Aaron Judge looks like he should be playing in a cornfield all the time. He really fit there well.
Ted, what was your take on the whole Field of Dreams game?
It was a masterpiece. MLB hit it out of the park. Literally best rated game in 16 years.
Yeah, that's saying something. Number one game in the past 16 years.
From the beginning with Kevin Costner walking out to the players coming out from the field, through the cornfield, through the whole production of the game. And here's what solidifies the thing: the game was good.
Yes.
The game was good. It wasn't, wasn't a boring baseball game. There was a lot of entertainment between the home runs, I came back right here. I watched the game. Judge hit the bomb line. Bang! And then I'm like, when Gallo walked,
I was at the bar watching
it. He's gonna hit a home run. I had a weird feeling. And he
think about that disaster from 2 years ago in London and how stupid that was compared to this.
It was entertaining, but yes, I understand.
This was more of a This felt like more of a baseball game.
And I was like, all right. And then the way Yankees came back, I'm like, all right, this is going to be a huge confidence booster. Hey, unfortunately, the Yankees lost. Now, the movie of, the true story, the White Sox were the original team that walked out of the cornfield. So it was kind of cool that they won. It was their home game, kind of, the Yankees didn't steal the show. But Black Sox, but you get the walk-off too, which is even more dramatic. I know we're going to talk about it with baseball. Is it an issue with the Yankees going forward with the bullpen? But overall, I don't know if Major League Baseball should do it every year or every other couple years, but they should do something.
Next should be the Sandlot.
Because it worked. It worked, and it was really joyous. And even with the badass Yankees and the Chicago White Sox, it was the best baseball they've seen in 16 years, the highest rating over all the World Series games, over all the nonsense. With everything that's transpired with baseball, they hit it out of the park, and they should be complimented. And hey, everything worked out, and it was a great scene, great game. And unfortunately, as a Yankee fan, we lost. But
speaking of hitting out of the park,
it worked.
There was a lot of hitting it out of the park in that game. Stanton, Judge, Abreu, Tim Anderson. There were a lot of, even Gardner got involved in the home run theatrics that night. But that's what I wanted to start with because with the Field of Dreams, we didn't get to talk about it. And the Yankees are part of it. It was an amazing – just hit it out of the park. It was 10 out of 10, just everything. For those 3 hours or however long that game was, there was nothing wrong about it. The only problem was the New York Yankees. And what about the New York Yankees? No, it wasn't the offense because the offense has been getting it going. Look, this New York Yankees team looks like a new team since the 4th of July. They have one of the best records in baseball. They're climbing up in the standings. But the thing that's getting me nervous, like last night and in the Field of Dreams game, was the bullpen. And we've talked about this countless times, and you guys kind of both jumped on me and said, no, I don't think it's the biggest weakness. Well, I think it's becoming more and more inevitable. I know there's players out. I know Chapman is out. Britton hasn't been the same since last year. You have a bunch of AAA and some backup players that are not really on, that you wouldn't think coming into the Yankees season were going to be on this roster. But that's where we're going to start with is when I look at this team, it's not the offense right now because the offense is starting to get its groove going. It's starting to get it going. It's starting to connect. It's starting to gel. Is if this team makes the playoffs, and we know how bullpens are a key component in the postseason and starting pitching in general too. You look at the Yankees bullpen, and we've seen in the past, even in the past postseason with Chapman, giving up 2 big home runs that eventually led to their elimination. Do we still have faith in the Yankees bullpen as much as we did, Joe?
Well, of course we don't, but do I still long-term have faith in it? I do. I think Zach Britton needs to work some things out. He's going to be fine. He can't throw a pitch over the plate to save his life if he tried. So that's going to work itself out. Chapman will be fine. He always is. He does have a tendency to give up home runs in big spots, but eventually he won't, I would assume. Chad Green's pitched well. Wandy Peralta came in and got some big outs. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Loaizaga has pitched well all year. So to me, look, the bullpen, it's not going to be the strength that it was in years past, but I do think by the end of this season, I think the main guys are going to be pitching well.
If they get into the postseason, can they survive and advance with this bullpen? And I'm talking about even when a healthy bullpen, when they all come back, can they survive and advance into this postseason against these teams like the Astros, if the Red Sox are still there, the A's.
With a healthy lineup and a healthy starting rotation, they can overcome the bullpen. If they've still got guys out, I mean, again, look at the lineup now. This a lot of, he's been playing well, Tyler Wade, but it's a lot of Tyler Wade for anybody's liking. a lot of Brett Gardner, a lot more than is necessary. So, I mean, you're still not seeing this team nearly at full strength. The rotation's a disaster right now, and yet still the ERA for the rotation's outstanding.
Yeah.
So you're putting a lot. You've been taxing the bullpen a lot more anyway, because of the rotation, because of injuries, because these guys only go 5 innings outside of Cole. So, yeah, I think this team, when healthy and clicking, if they can get this together by September, Ted, I don't think there's any reason why the Yankees can't go on a run. And if they make the postseason, why they wouldn't be able to make as much damage as anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, 2 things. I wish I knew who the Facebook user was that was writing the comments. Like if there was a name. But I like the idea he had. Robert Redford back in the New York Knights uniform, Yankees, Phillies, Buffalo. I don't know if you guys.
Give me a Sandlot. Give me the Sandlot game.
No, well, that's another year. They
would
saved
love
that. But he said
Would love
next
to
dream
see it.
game in Buffalo, a la the natural. Put Robert Redford back in the New York Knights uniform, Yankees, Phillies at Salem Field. I wish I knew who the Facebook user is, but I love the idea. Other thing, just looked up on Yankees, quick Google. Cole's supposed to return to the Yankees tomorrow. They only have a 1 game tomorrow against the Angels, and then Tuesday they start against the Red Sox.
That's a huge series because right now they are they're 2.5 back of the Sox.
Those are my little stupid ass tidbits. But to the point you were asking about the bullpen, Trev, I'm starting to wager. Like if I was on the seesaw, I'm starting to be more on your side where I do have some worries about this bullpen because I am on Joe's thing. We do have the pieces when everything is healthy. When Rizzo's back, Gallo, you get Cole back. Hopefully, we get Cooper back in the next couple of weeks. Severino. This team is a much better team. You've seen it. You can see the last week, two weeks since the trade deadline. This team, just in general, you can just look from the point of your eyes, if you have any sight, that this team is a better team. Now, yeah, Tyler Wade's playing more than often, but I like what he's produced. This team. I don't know if anyone realize they're the number 1 or second best stealing team in baseball right now since the All-Star break. So this team has dynamically changed since the beginning of the season. Now, is that the way they're probably going to win all the time? Absolutely not. That's not the way this team is built. But it's definitely shown a variety of ways where this team can compete. And I think the Yankees down the road should look at something like, okay, maybe we shouldn't have all 6'8", 300-pound, big hitters. Let's throw a little speed in there because our team is almost more enjoyable and more dynamic, especially when you balance the speed with the power. I do have some worrisome, though, about this bullpen, Joe. I understand Wise has been better. He's got great stuff. We talked about it. He's got phenomenal stuff. He could almost be a starting pitcher if they ever want to.
I could see him eventually becoming
But
a
if you ever
starting pitcher.
notice if the Yankees bust, it's always him coming in the game. Always. The other night, it's like every time he comes in, he's got probably the best stuff in the entire bullpen. You even asked some of the guys, probably, I think they read it. He's got some of the best stuff in all the bullpen, but he's just inconsistent. Britton's lost him. And I don't know if he's going to be able to find it this year. It might be something where he doesn't find it until next year because even he said he doesn't want to be the closer. You don't like that attitude from a guy.
He went to Boone and said, "I don't
do not want to be the closer. I'm not good enough." Even last night when they brought him, he doesn't have it. Now, while you could say he's dealt with injuries and inconsistency, some guys just can't find it, and they won't find it until next year. But I think, like with Joe's point of summing this all up, is if you can get a healthy Chapman back. You can get all the Rizzos and Gallos and Cole and Coopers, and you get all these pieces together. And who knows, maybe Nestor Cortez goes in the bullpen and becomes your long relief Ramiro Mendoza or something. Or maybe he becomes your 4th best starter because he is creative and can do multiple things. But they have to be more consistent, and we'll see. They have played better, though. But the bullpen is an issue because they have blown – I think, Trev, you sent us a stat where I think they've blown more saves this year or opportunities than anyone in the Major League Baseball this year. And that's definitely something that we're not used to seeing as Yankee fans.
And that's what I'm trying to – I want to finish up this with you, Joe. You said about the offense and stuff like that. With this offense, they can score. Well, we've seen it in the past, too. Like, this offense, even when they – not with this current lineup. I'm talking about back in the day, 17, 18, 19. They've always had the offense to do it. It's just even when the offense produces that bullpen, and we've seen it with Chapman multiple times. It's just sometimes we're starting to get like this isn't the.
I mean, Chapman twice. Let's just say Chapman twice.
Okay,
you're talking about 2 very specific instances in that man's career.
But that's what I'm trying to say is that you've had those 2 scenarios that like the offense has produced, but you still get that And I feel like this right now. Every time it's like, oh, the Yankees have a lead going into the ninth. What has happened the past 2 nights? They've blown it, and then yes, eventually they won.
The Yankees are like the New York Giants. You got to watch until all 27 outs are completed. Chapman does, Trev. You're right. He walks the bases loaded, and then he gets out of it. But how many times are you going to,
like how can they survive? How can they survive going with that type of philosophy that we've seen in the past couple of years? That like,
yeah, but look, not for nothing. You just saw literally the White Sox in the last 2 nights. You've seen the same thing. You've seen their bullpen fail. Again, this is I saw Mariano Rivera's name was trending earlier today. And yes, Mariano Rivera's name is trending because Yankee fans are losing their mind because we don't have a closer. And, we've talked about this. I wrote an article about it, the Mariano Rivera effect, where in our minds, Mariano never blew a save. Mariano was perfect. Yep. Mariano never gave up runs. Mariano never walked the bases loaded and tight walked out of it. Mariano didn't have stretches in 2005 and 6 after the World Series where he struggled against the Red Sox. So we can romanticize and we can revisionist history Mariano Rivera. It was a struggle, and to be as great as he was for as long as he was is a testament to how great a player he was. There's not a lot of guys currently in Major League Baseball that have the resume of Aroldis Chapman. There's just not. There's not a lot of guys in baseball that have had 30 saves 3 or 4 years in a row even. It's hard to be consistent in that role. He is the best in baseball at it. He struggles at times. Take a look. Again, watch SportsCenter any night of the week. All those walk-offs, who the hell you think you're hitting them off of? Everyone else is closers. I mean, not for nothing. Watch the Mets any night of the week. You want to watch a closer give up a walk-off? There you go.
Or the Phillies.
He's got to get that one Mets.
Got to jab the Mets.
Of course. But I'm not taking away from the Yankees. They're playing well, coming up clutch last night, multiple occasions. Judge with the home run off of Kimbrel. Then Joey Gallo having a big game, his first major big game for the Yankees, and a big moment again for him. And like you said, when you get all these back, when you get Severino back, get Kluber back, Cole back, he's supposed to be coming back. You get Rizzo back. I mean, we saw what Rizzo was doing before he even went out, before COVID got him. That was the only thing that was stopping Anthony Rizzo right now because he was on a tear with the New York Yankees. The Yankees are playing well. They're starting to play like New York Yankee baseball. Got a big series coming up against the Sox. We'll see how that has gone because so far it's been leaning towards the Sox this year, but the Yankees are starting to play them better. So we'll see how it goes. Take care of the Angels tomorrow, and then we get on to the Sox. But I wanted to also switch over to this. Now we're going to go in to the gridiron because it's some football talk. Preseason was underway last week, but now we've officially got it going. We got all teams going. Players are playing. Rookies are playing. And boy, oh boy, I want to start off with the rookies because the rookies have been going off so far. Here's some quick stats for them. Brought to you by Ted that gave him the great stats. Only guy that's missing is from Mac Jones, but I do have what his stat line was. So here's the rookie quarterbacks from yesterday's performance. And Jordan Love, who you could say is like the Ben Simmons role. Ben Simmons didn't play his whole rookie year, but still won Rookie of the Year in his second season. Jordan Love never played last year, so he's technically a rookie. And Jordan Love played pretty well as well. Trevor Lawrence, 6 of 9. He was probably the worst of the three other than that incredible throw to Marvin Jones. Zach Wilson had a solid game. Trey Lance and Justin Fields, those guys, well, they delivered. Most of that play from Trey Lance is on the 80-yard touchdown. So you look at all these guys. They all came out, and I know we talked about it last week about the –
Don't forget about Mac Jones.
Oh, and Mac Jones.
13 for 19.
13 of 19, 87 yards, and he looked the part. He finally has a normal number, too. He is not number 50. He's number 10 now for the New England Patriots, so thank God he doesn't have that number anymore. But you look at all these rookie quarterbacks. I know it's preseason. I know they're playing against a lot of the backups, but this is supposed to be – I mean, you look at those 5 quarterbacks. These are going to be maybe the future of the NFL. Could be one of those great, great quarterback classes, and we have said this before with the Baker Mayfield class. That was supposed to be a legendary class. Sam Darnold is a TBD. Josh Rosen is MIA. Josh Allen and Lamar have been doing their thing. Baker's starting to get up to there. So we'll see how that class is going. But you look at all these guys. Justin Fields, We saw Trey Lance talk. We talked about them big time last week. Two teams that are in win now modes. Do they give them the best shot to maybe get over the hump? Because these are two playoff caliber teams. And with a quarterback like Trey Lance and Justin Fields with that mobility, the athleticism, they can be difference makers. But I want to ask you guys, it might be a stupid question, but I don't really care because it could be different. We all could have a different answer. It's which rookie quarterback right now, at this current time, would you want of all the 5 quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round? Or should I say top 15?
Well, what do you mean? We redraft him, or who had the better day yesterday?
No, like if
who I still want is Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's the best quarterback. It's not even a question. Let's put him on a better team, though, too. Let's give him, let's not have a college coach who's, in his first ever NFL game in history. You know what I mean? Let's put him on a better team. But if you ask me who, I read all this. I'm reading this stuff now. They did a preseason thing of all the players and coaches and stuff. I'm taking Justin Fields right now. Right now, Trey Lance yesterday had 180-yard throw, but he also missed 2 throws badly, which should have been intercepted. He took 4 sacks yesterday, and there was a lot of times where he didn't look comfortable in the pocket, Trey Lance. So what you're going to get is I'll use a Yankee term because we just talked about the Yankees. You're going to get the home run, you're going to get the strikeout. Trey Lance probably is going to give you 2 or 3 plays a game where you're going to be like, wow. And then you're going to give 4 or 5 plays, you're going to be like, you're going to shake your head. But that's what happens when you haven't played football in 315 days. So, like I said, when we had this question last week, who should start week 1? It's still Jimmy G. But let's see where Trey Lance is by the end of preseason. Let's see where Trey Lance is in week 8 when Jimmy G gets hurt by then. Because it's inevitable. It's almost the narrative. But to your point, your question was who you want. I'm still taking Trevor Lawrence. He's still the best quarterback of all these quarterbacks. But the guy who had the best day, who showed off yesterday the most, was Justin Fields.
Joe, are you going to surprise us and take your guy from Roll Tide City?
No, I'm not. Because here's what I'll say. Drew Lock lit it up yesterday, and Teddy Bridgewater looked insanely good yesterday. So it's hard to put too much stock into these numbers. No, if the question you're asking me is who's ready to start day 1, because we talked about this last week, Trey Lance is not ready to start on day 1 as of right now. Mm-hmm. He's still got a couple weeks to go. But if you ask me based on yesterday's assessment, who could start opening day? Justin Fields could start opening day.
He said the game looked slow to him last night. I was actually
that's beautiful.
Shocked.
That's beautiful.
But I don't know if I would have admitted that either because
I think he should be the starter day 1.
Well, here's
the thing. Listen, here's what we figured out yesterday. Trevor Lawrence is going to be fine. It's going to be a rough year because they suck, but he's going to be just fine. I think that's pretty clear. Zach Wilson looked fantastic yesterday. Again, wasn't outstanding, but he looked like he's going to be fine come opening day. It's going to be a rough year. Same with Lawrence. They're going to have to learn and grow. Trey Lance, not ready. Justin Fields could start this coming week and should never relent the starting job again. Mac Jones could start today. I think the chances of Mac Jones starting on opening day are, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think he could. And I think when it comes to Bill Belichick, he may decide the night before the game that it's going to be Mac Jones. But yeah, I thought everybody but Trey Lance looks ready to be an opening day starter. Whether they are or not still remains to be seen. For sure, Lawrence is gonna, and for sure, Wilson is gonna. That we do know because there's no backup plan.
We talked about this last week as we got in this big argument. This is the Jets' fault for not having a good enough veteran to start week 1 or at least give him some competition. Because Zach Wilson's not he. If you read the article and you watch the game last night, he did what he was supposed to do. It was dinks and dunks, play action, hand the ball off. He was 7 of 9. He was comfortable. They didn't overdo it. It was nothing that was like what you saw at BYU where he's just flinging the ball around the field, no deep passes. And the Giants didn't have like any starters playing last night on defense. Like none of their D-line was really starting. No linebackers were starting. I don't think any of the starting defense played at all for the New York Giants. Maybe 1 or 2 guys that might see starting time. But Adoree Jackson played, Bradbury didn't play, Peppers didn't play, Blake Martinez didn't play, Dexter Lawrence didn't play, Leonard Williams didn't play. So He didn't play against real competition yet, but that's what we were talking about last week when I said about Trey Lance. Let's see how these guys do against when there's real starters, when, Leonard Williams is coming mauling at you. Zach Wilson, listen, the Jets are going to be a work in progress. I think they're going to be the worst team in football this year. Them and the Lions. The Jets. I listen, they got players, but he's going to take it.
Don't forget about the Texans.
Listen, he's going to take it. They'll be fine. I think they'll be better than the Jets. I think Zach Wilson's going to struggle a little bit, even though they have players on there. I still think they're a work in progress. But we'll see. Listen, it was one preseason game. Trevor Lawrence looked a little bit more comfortable. Like Joe said, I don't think Trey Lance is ready. I think Fields showed I think Miami had 215 yards and 79 yards total offense. Miami versus the Bears, and then Justin Fields came in and flipped the script on the game. His speed is dynamic. I don't know if you saw the thing last night. His scramble last night went up to 20 miles an hour. It was the fastest.
I'm telling you, man. I think Fields is going to be an absolute.
Well, and here's the thing: when you line can't protect, now they did just pick up Jason Peters, veteran left tackle from the Eagles. So we'll see how healthy and how well he'll play to help that offense line. But listen, if your offensive line stinks, it's always nice to have the legs to run away from trouble.
That's true.
But listen, I would say this for all the teams, from Mac Jones on Thursday night to the 4 guys we just talked about just now, I think all teams have to be pleased with where they're at and where these rookies are at and how well they look. Nothing spectacular, but they all showed, strides in being where I think these teams want them on day one. And that's, for the regular season being their starting quarterback.
I think you guys are right with Trey Lance. I could see Trey Lance being the one. And we talked about, he was the wild card of this draft class because of the fact that he didn't have the starts. He didn't have the experience, and he was playing no offense, he was playing in North Dakota State. The competition's a little different when compared to Zach Wilson, especially Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and Mac Jones, where those guys are playing top-notch quality players and conferences and when they play everybody else. But Trey Lance is going to be the one that we all thought it was. Well, he's going to be the wild card. If he's not ready, then he's going to be the one to say.
Well, here's the other thing. If Mac Jones lights it up for New England, not to cut you off, Trev, but you're going to have some questions going forward. Now, listen, you can't do that off of the first game. Let's talk to it. Usually, you got to go. I know. I go through the rookie contract, but I know when we were doing draft stuff 6 months or, not 6 months, about 4 or 5 months ago. And I think Joe said, I think we even had Mac Jones going 3 because everyone was on the 49ers Mac Jones thing. It was just, right? Didn't it seem like Mac Jones?
Joe would have taken Mac Jones 1 if he had the opportunity to.
I would have because he's great.
He's great. He's great.
Joe, would you have really taken Mac Jones?
No, of course I wouldn't have. I would have taken Justin Fields at number 1 though over Trevor Lawrence. I'll be quite honest with you. I think I think when it's all said and done, I think he's going to end up being a slightly better all-around quarterback than Trevor. I think Trevor Lawrence will be exceptional, but it's going to be hard for him to win Super Bowls in Jacksonville. So
I think
Chicago ain't that easy either.
No, that's true.
But Chicago's a real team.
Yeah, I got you.
But
I know you can see you've heard it said the Chicago Bears have won a Super Bowl because they did. The Jacksonville Jaguars have never sniffed it, and as currently constructed, they're not even close.
They've sniffed it. They haven't fully got.
When I say sniffed it, I mean be like the Bills. You know what I mean? Be there. Be it close enough to touch the trophy, but not enough to take it home.
I'd rather be the Jaguars and not get there and lose 4 in a row.
I think Justin Fields is going to be. I think teams that passed on him, and I remember, Joe, when we did a couple weeks ago, top 10 players facing the most pressure, and you put Zach Wilson, and your explanation to it was a valid reason for it. Well, Justin Fields, I know it's preseason. I know it's against backups, but that offense is going to be different when he's in. And you just said it, Ted. They were getting outperformed with Andy Dalton. I'm sorry. Jimmy G, fine. That's fine.
I don't think you guys know Sketchy Peasant. He's a big CMG contributor. He's a West Coast guy, just so you know. He obviously believes in Trey Lance because of Kyle Shanahan.
Yes.
So much so, he thinks Kyle Shanahan could put me in a game and I would throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's high praise for Kyle Shanahan. He's got his work cut out with this young man.
This is not
Justin, but we'll see it, Joe. I guess you might have to go. Joe, you might have to go play Madden and create yourself and go play with the 49ers now. But what I was trying is Justin Fields. I would have taken him. I think he's going to be the best quarterback of this draft class. And I can't
say I felt that way enough in April that I would have done it.
Well, and I'll say this though: of all the quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, look at all the quarterbacks except for the Jets. All have really good quarterback kind of guru guys surrounded by them. Matt Nagy's a pretty good guru for Justin Fields. Trevor Lawrence has got Urban Meyer, and I forget who the offensive coordinator is.
Schottenheimer.
Yes, very good offensive coordinator. Oh my God, I'm drawing by Trey Lance has got Kyle Shanahan, and then Mac Jones has got Belichick and
Josh McDaniels.
And Josh, I mean, you think about those four
You're
guys.
about to say Trevor McDaniels? McDaniels.
McMuffin.
Ted's wanting McDonald's right now.
But no, I mean, honestly, that's a big part of where these guys' growth will come from is their offensive coordinators. I mean, if you remember how pissed off Aaron Rodgers were when they got rid of his quarterback coach, Alex Van Pelt, he wasn't too pleased about that. So building that chemistry with the offensive coordinator and the coach, I mean, the Jets really need to find a good offensive coordinator. I don't know who is their. Wait, that's the one that just passed away, right? He was the offensive coordinator.
Greg Knapp. Their offensive coordinator was Greg Knapp.
He was
only the Jets.
And he's a great coordinator.
Yeah,
too.
because even Peyton Manning had kind of praised him from the old days with Denver. So that's unfortunate for the Jets and Zach Wilson. But I look at the other guys and being in really good positions with really good quarterback guru, offensive coordinator, head coaches that can really help these guys grow. And like Joe said, hopefully all of them will be great, because that's better for the league.
I see.
Well, don't forget, too, the Giants went in and they targeted Daniel Jones because of the specific information they got from the Mannings about him. And having spent time in the camp and what a difference they felt like this is the kind of guy they wanted. He was very much like Eli in his mindset. And there's a very specific reason the Giants went after Daniel Jones, who clearly isn't the same kind of quarterback with the same skill set as Eli. It's his mental makeup. And I think, again, you get the guy that you want and you target him. Kyle Shanahan, I'm sure, was salivating at the idea of getting his hands on Trey Lance. I'm sure Matt Nagy is. We can get. What are you kidding me? Yes.
I mean, look what they did. They were at 20 and they risked it all. They risked it all. They risked it all because they know their jobs are on the line and they had to make a splash. And they went to go get a guy that they feel could be a game changer for that franchise. And you just saw a quick glimpse of that yesterday, what this offense can be. And that's why I think with the Bears, they shouldn't even consider Andy Dalton. Just put him as the backup.
Will the Giants be kicking themselves for that trade if things don't pan out and Justin Fields becomes the greatest quarterback in NFL history?
Well, you can't say it now because
how would you kick yourself?
It all depends on what Daniel Jones.
How would you kick yourself though? They're not taking Justin Fields.
They were never going to take Fields.
No, either. But they could have. But they literally hand delivered him to Chicago.
Yeah, I know. Listen, here's where I think the Giants were screwed. This happens 2 years ago when Justin Herbert decided to come back to Oregon for another year, which probably helped him a lot. But that's who the Giants were targeting in that draft class was Justin Herbert. It was all Justin Herbert. That's who the Giants were going to go get. They don't take Justin Herbert. And then the following year, we take Daniel Jones because we know Dwayne Haskins would have been a bust, awful, and we would be really regretting that. Daniel Jones, we'll see. And then Kyle Murray was going number one. So it wasn't like – and then what we were going to do, wait this year to take another quarterback? Like, who would have been our quarterback? Hey, but Kyle Leonard played really good for the Browns last night.
Hey, Haskins looked fantastic last night, by the way, as did Mason Rudolph, as did Josh Dobbs. Everybody in Pittsburgh.
Davis Webb played pretty well, too.
Yeah.
Mike,
you know who was – I was going to say, you know who didn't have a good week? One of the few people who didn't look good at all was Mike Lennon. Colt McCoy was awful as well.
But this rookie draft class is going to be great. This rookie quarterback draft class, I should say, looks like there's a lot of star potential within this group. And they all started off with it. They all started off pretty well. Good starts, but they're all going to have room for improvement because they're rookies. I could see three quarterbacks.
I like where Jace's mindset is. Yeah,
I could see 3 quarterbacks starting week 1, 3 rookie quarterbacks, and I could see it officially being Justin Fields because I think the Bears are going to have to play him right off the bat because of the fact that Ted, you said it, the Dolphins were outplaying them, had more yards with them. Once Fields came in, it was just a whole nother dynamic.
He makes things happen, especially with his legs. And
yes.
Listen, if things all fail through the passing game, you go running and you keep the drive alive. You know what I mean? Keep the drive alive.
So, all I would have to say is I'd rather be these teams than I would be the New Orleans Saints because they have a tough situation going on, and they don't know what the hell to do. The Saints are in big trouble because I don't know if they want to start Jameis or Taysom Hill. But speaking of the Saints, and we're going to talk about coaches, and I'm pretty sure that we all have Sean Payton in our top 10 coaches, and that's what our top 10 list for this week is. And then we're going to have another one, and then the next week we'll have our actual NFL preview. So we'll have one more top 10 list after this. We've been doing this for about a month and a half of top 10 lists. First time we've been doing it. Now we're going to be starting more food too. This week is top 10 sandwiches and subs, brought to you by and sponsored by Ted's Eats. So let's start off.
Let's start with your coaches.
You want me to start with my top 10 coaches? Yeah, because I always go last. We always save the best for last. I guess we'll go first today because I always want to be number one.
We talked about yours last week.
No, you guys didn't. You guys really didn't. You never do. You just all bash my list. That's it. You look at it, you're like, it sucks. I think that's what Joe said last week. He's like, sucks.
Yeah,
All right, here we go. So here is my top 10 list. Funny thing is, we all have the same top 3 coaches in different orders, though. So here's my top 10 list for coaches. Give me what you got. I mean, I'm looking at the list right now. We all have the same.
I don't think Belichick could be number 1 right now, and you know that. You definitely thought a lot about it when you did that. You only put Andy Reid, too, because he didn't win last year's Super Bowl. I think he's easily better than Belichick right now, and you know it. John Harbaugh's got to win something before he could be in the top 5. Let's be fair here.
Joe, you have John
Harbaugh.
I
know. I'm just saying.
I have no problem.
It's a lot of Sean's in the top 10. A lot of Sean's.
I put Belichick in there because of the fact that this team you got to look at last year. They had a bunch of players didn't step out because of COVID. They didn't play. They had a quarterback situation. They had one of the worst quarterback situations going on in the NFL last year, and they still managed to finish one game under 500 at 7-9, and they were all the way almost maybe making the postseason until week 15 or so. Belichick is a mastermind. I'm not taking Belichick off my number 1 list until that man retires. He will still go down as the best coach in football right now. Andy Reid is a close second, but Belichick is the GOAT. It's kind of like the Brady thing. It's just they're the GOAT for a reason. Belichick showed it last year.
Wait, then why didn't you have Brady on your NFL, your best players in NFL list? Shouldn't he be number 1? You just said he's the GOAT.
He's not number 1.
You just said it. You just said that.
I said quarterback.
I
said quarterback.
Was he on number 1 on your quarterback list?
He was not, actually.
Well, then there you go.
He was number 2.
Switch this now. Just put Andy Reid at 1 and take Belichick, put him at 2. You're fine. And then I think the rest of the list is good. Although, now listen, at number 7, you bashed Mike Tomlin all the time. And I think when you see the massive collapse that team had last year, to put him in front of Pete Carroll, I think it's disgraceful. Ted, your thoughts?
I actually have no problem with his.
No, the reason why I've had Tomlin is because
I actually have no problem with his list.
He's never had a losing season. Joe, he's never had a losing season since being the Steelers coach.
I have no problem with that. I was actually saying you could probably put him higher because Bruce Arians just walked back into the house.
You both argued with me in the last year that this guy's lost his touch, that he's not as good, that he's an overrated head coach. What are we defending him for? Now you're defending Mike Tomlin. What is happening here? Is this like the Bizarro universe?
Joe, we have to. Never mind. I'm caught my brain. My brain caught up to. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
It's one of your top 10
there's good balance in this thing. Listen, I don't have no problem. You can make the argument that Tomlin and Pete Carroll could be in top 5. They both have the resumes to be in the top 5. Now you could say, Pete Carroll skewed because he has Russell Wilson saves his rear end a lot of times when they should be losing games. Had the Legion of Boom, but you know what? That's also coaching. That's putting people in the right positions. That's drafting. I just asked why McVay in front of Sean Payton.
I think Sean Payton is
just because Sean Payton's got a longer tenure. Sean Payton was Sean McVay before Sean McVay was born.
I think Sean McVay is going to be like this generation's Sean Payton. I think he's a mastermind. I think Sean Payton is – I want to see how Sean Payton performs this year without Drew Brees. I really do. I don't know how he's going to be with James Winston.
Probably like Belichick without Brady.
Be one game under 500? Okay.
And you'll push him up higher on the list for next season, apparently.
All right, big mouth. Let's go to your list, okay? You know what's funny about Joe's list? He's got a coordinator in there.
I do.
Says the man that still has the same top three as me when he said John Harbaugh just needs to get a little high. It needs to win some to be.
Well, he does. And not for nothing. You know, you mentioned it's funny. I put Bruce Arians in the middle of that run of Sean's at the end because they're all the same guy to me, really. McVay, Payton, McDermott, whatever.
I want to ask the obvious question. You put in Eric Bieniemy. I think Eric Bieniemy is one of the fine minds in this game. But why did you put him as a coordinator? He should be already a head coach. That's just a bunch of BS.
Can't put him ahead in front of the head coaches, though.
Why do you have him so high on your list?
Because I think other than Sean Payton and Bruce Arians, I don't know that anybody's on the list as a better coach than him. And I think when he takes over a team, I think it's going to be. I don't like Mike Tomlin. No, I've grown tired of Mike Tomlin's shenanigans. Ever since he tried to trip that player some years ago, I don't look at him the same.
Yeah, I can't put an offensive coordinator in front of a head coach. Sean McVay is just as good as Eric Bieniemy, and he has to run the entire team.
Just because he's been offered the opportunity that Eric Bieniemy hasn't, I don't want to hold that against Bieniemy.
He's going to be the best AAA player until you get to the major.
Would you argue that Eric Bieniemy is by far the best offensive coordinator in football?
Well, not necessarily.
Just think about the things that they do, the risks that they take, how well he knows his personnel. I mean, dude, it's not even close.
Here's the only thing is, a lot of that comes from Andy Reid because Andy Reid was still calling plays up until a couple of years ago until he gave it to Eric Bieniemy. So Andy Reid he's still the mastermind. He's still the teacher in the course. Eric Bieniemy is the what's those?
Sure, look how many of Belichick's guys are on this list.
Exactly.
He's still the mastermind.
What are those ones in college where you have the professor, then you have that other one who's like the student, but he's like the teacher too.
Co-teacher.
What? It's not the sub teacher.
Like teacher's assistant.
Yeah, like whatever those are, the TA.
We'll go with that one.
But here's the thing. He's good, but he also has Mahomes, and he has Andy Reid, and he has a lot
He's not going anywhere because he's going to be the next Chiefs head coach.
No, he's not, because Andy Reid's not going to retire anytime soon. Eric Bieniemy is going to get a real shot.
If they win another Super Bowl this year, Andy Reid might.
Here's my thing is, why Brian
Dude,
Flores?
Andy Reid's a couple of like high cholesterol meals away from death. I mean, Bieniemy, there's a reason they haven't let him get out there. I mean...
So, here's the other thing, Joe. How do you put Brian Flores in above the guys that have been to the Super Bowl or have won Super Bowls?
Wait, is the question who was the best coach before this season, or are we assessing these guys?
2021 season.
No, this is coaches.
I'm assessing these guys right now based on who I think the best coaches are.
You would take Brian Flores over McVay, Payton.
I love Brian Flores.
That's why I put him there. Yeah. I just think he's I like the brains there. I like the mind. Again, sometimes I'm not looking for resume as much as I'm looking for who do I think is a really good coach right now? Who do I think is a guy who has his team in the right position, pushes the right buttons? That's who I was picking here.
I thought about putting Flores in, but I didn't.
I love Brian Flores. I think he's
But you put Mike Tomlin in.
You'll see my list. You'll see my list in a second. He's also done it longer and has 2 Super Bowls.
Well,
I'm just saying this shouldn't be a lifetime achievement award list. This isn't last year's Heisman Trophy, Kate. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm also not going to knock Mike Tomlin for being 10-0 and then just the team falling apart, injuries, quarterback being old. Listen, that's not all on him. But
see, Joe, you're killing
I don't trust any of the Shanahans. I'll be honest. I never have my entire life. There's something about that family.
I have no problem with Ted's list. Only thing I would ask is Vrabel.
Like Joe would say to 2021. I just like Vrabel as a coach. I like his whole personality. I like his whole persona. I like the way his team plays. I like the way his team competes. But it'll be a really telling story this year because now, offense, they still don't have the defense to compete with the elite teams, but their offense should be. I mean, you got Tannehill, you got the best running back, you got 2 stud receivers. I mean, every year you look at this team. What do they used to finish? What 9-7, 9-7, 9-7. I mean, it's not great. And it's not poor, but every year it's consistent. It's good. They're hard-nosed. It's the type of coach you would want to play for. He's a player's coach. And I just like what he represents for Tennessee.
Joe, are you going to rip Ted for having Belichick number 1? Or are you just going to...
No, I think Ted's list is perfect.
What kind of
outstanding list right here. He nailed it.
Mike Tomlin, number 8, right where he belongs.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So what was the difference between me having Tomlin at 7 and 8?
7? What are you, out of your mind? 7? Jesus.
7?
You even watch football?
7 miles per hour.
Joe, I actually put Vrabel over Flores. I thought about him. I also thought about LaFleur from Green Bay. But I was like wondering how much is it him or is it how much is it Aaron Rodgers so damn good that you could put any of one of us there? And I tried to be fair because you were like, well, you could say that about Andy Reid. Well, Andy Reid's been – listen, you look at the top 3 guys, Belichick, Andy Reid, and John Harbaugh. They have all been the symbol of consistency and greatness. Like John Harbaugh, like –
symbol of freedom.
Like, do you know what? You know what? One of my criteria was on this list. One of my criteria was I don't want when the Super Bowl is over for my guy not to be on this list at all. The Super Bowl winning quarterback. That's why I left Mike Tomlin off the list.
Not be ahead of John Harbaugh. Absolutely not.
Mike Tomlin should not be above John Harbaugh.
But would you say it's fair that this list, that the Super Bowl winning team's probably one of these guys?
Will be in the Super. I think 2 of these coaches will be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Bruce Arians right there. Belichick's probably gonna have a tough time unless
Andy
Mac Jones,
Reid, Harbaugh, Sean Payton, no. Sean McDermott, yes. McVay, yes. Carroll, yes. Tomlin,
possibly.
No. You have about 6 or 7. You have about 6 or 7, and even Vrabel, yeah 6.
And the ones we're missing is a Shanahan, a LaFleur from Green Bay, and I don't really know.
So how do we rank these lists? Am I dead last again, Joe?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. You tried really hard. This was a better list for you.
I'm done with Joe. I'm putting on mute. Let's get into our new segment. Let's get into our new segment that we're going to be doing.
We might have to talk about this, but I wish I had Charles on here as a Steeler guy, and he's a huge Steeler. I thought we were talking about this show 4 years ago that he thought Tomlin should have been retired. Not retired, fired. And Charles is one of the most avid Steeler fans and was not a big fan of Tomlin. I know a lot of fans, Steeler fans that are not a big fan of Mike Tomlin.
Kind of like what Joe said. They're kind of over his shenanigans. It's like,
but he wins though. I get it. He wins.
He wins. Just like Harbaugh does. Yeah, these coaches, their consistency at its finest.
Who would you rather have, Tony Romo or Eli Manning?
Eli.
So why? Because of the championships. So again, the question is do you want Mike Tomlin? You want to make you want to win 9-10 games, make the playoffs, and not go anywhere? You know what I mean? Or do you want to be? Do you want Tom Coughlin? You want to win 2 Super Bowls and only make the playoffs twice in 5 years? It's you know what I mean? It's like half of one, 6 dozen of the other. To everybody in the comments that's flipping out right now, this is a very subjective list. Like we're not. No one's keeping track. We just threw the 10 names together. People are getting upset.
Yeah, the Facebook user's losing his mind. He's literally
not meant for that. I want everyone to know, if anybody would like to submit their own list, knock yourself out. We'll even show it. I don't care.
Yeah, we'll show you our list.
Yeah, hey, listen, you got to put your name to the bulletin board, though. It can't be
again, this is one of those lists where it's like the 10 best coaches. Well, Christ, I don't know. Should I just be like adding up their Super Bowls and their all-time wins, or am I looking for who had a great year last year, who's poised to win one this year.
Yeah, because then that means Bruce Arians is the best coach this year. He should be number one because he beat Andy Reid in the Super Bowl.
Sure, and Andy Reid should be number 2 on the list. And by Trevor's logic earlier, Belichick would be 3rd, I guess.
No,
because he's the next best one after the 2 that just won it.
That game, Belichick wouldn't even be on the list then. But let's get into our new segment. We're going to be doing foods. Next week, we'll be trying to come up with another list. Hopefully, Ted and Joe don't come up with a sushi list because you will not have me on that part. So, but we're going to have
next week is our favorite side dishes. Favorite side dish.
Ooh.
Okay.
Where will coleslaw land on the list?
Where will coleslaw? 0. Coleslaw's not making a top 5, Joe. You're out of your mind.
It's going to be number 1 on my list, so it'll balance out yours. That's what's going to have to happen.
Salad, French fries, mac and cheese.
Right, by the way, Teddy, my wife loved the line last week when we started doing the lists. And Trevor, you introduced my list, and Teddy goes, "Oh yeah, celery and carrot sticks." That was hilarious. She really thought that was great. So I just wanted to give you those kudos.
Me and Ted put like nachos and wings. Joe puts pretzels.
I was thinking of like the Huxtables, like he's hiding. He's got the vegetables and the lettuce covering the cake that's underneath it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Last week we did our top 5 football eats. This week it is our top 5 subs/sandwiches, sponsored by Ted's Eats. So I'm going to let Ted go first again because this is sponsored by Ted's Eats. And Ted, let's look at it right now. So we got chicken parm, anything chicken cutlet, steak and cheese, bacon cheeseburger, and a bacon egg sandwich. You know why it doesn't say cheese? And notice how all of these, okay, let's look. Chicken parm has cheese. Any chicken cutlet puts cheese. Steak and cheese puts cheese. Bacon cheeseburger puts cheese. Doesn't put cheese on a bacon egg sandwich. But yet this man has cheese and puts cheese and Parmesan cheese, mind you. And I say a Parmesan cheese lightly because he puts a pound of it on his pasta, but doesn't like a bacon, egg, and cheese. I don't understand this man. His criteria and his thinking sometimes just makes me go, lose it. So what do we think about this list?
Remember, I asked you guys about the bacon cheeseburger if that was a legit sandwich. Criterion.
I give that a nod because that's like, yeah.
I would say anything you hold in your hand that's wrapped in something high in carbs is a sandwich. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I love chicken stuff. I'm a
he
guy
goes
that
to a steak place.
Listen, I go to the steakhouse and I get chicken. I get like the duck or the pan-seared chicken with like a crack pot.
Joe, do you not like steak?
I'd rather have chicken.
Is it because they undercook it? Is that why you don't like steak because it's undercooked?
No, I like the taste of chicken better. Like pan-seared with like vegetables and like mashed potatoes or mac and cheese on the side. Absolutely.
Teddy, if I take you to Morton's, we're getting a steak. You understand me?
Joe, I was in Vegas at like one of the nicest steakhouse, and I got this the pan-seared chicken in the cast iron with vegetables and these unbelievable whipped mashed potatoes with garlic.
Okay, I'm going to take you somewhere for the old 96er. We're going to get it super raw, and we're going to eat the daylights out of it.
Chicken parm, obviously. I could have put chicken cutlet and been 1 and 2 because it feels like every time I go somewhere, like yesterday, Pat came over, Liuzzi, chicken cutlet, roasted red peppers, lettuce, cheddar cheese, mayo. I always do some type of chicken cutlet. You saw my Deli Unlimited. I had the firecracker with the chicken cutlet, chipotle, mayo, bacon, pepperoni, cheese, peppers. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a lot of cheese. Just don't have cheese.
Bacon cheeseburger and then a bacon egg. You can never go wrong with a bacon egg sandwich in the morning.
No, you need cheese. Bacon, egg, and cheese.
You don't need cheese on your egg.
But yet it has cheese on every other one of your top 4.
I can't do egg and cheese. It bothers me. It makes me gag.
I would flip 2 and 1. I do love a chicken parm, but Teddy, a chicken cutlet sandwich anywhere, no one has been able to screw up a chicken cutlet. You put a chicken cutlet on bread and you're home.
I can't believe you have number 2. That's a little.
What he actually has the Weathersfield. Okay, Weathersfield pizza.
I'm giving you some specifics here. Yeah, I feel like that was a duty to the public.
I got to tell you something. I got to be honest with you. this is coming from the food guy now. Here we go. The problem with your number 2 is just make it a chicken cutlet, because Nardelli's chicken cutlets are garbage.
They're not good.
They're like,
oh no, that's fantastic.
No,
You're not getting it
no.
right.
We used to go to
cutlets.
CSB. When we went to CSB,
and then they warm them up in the microwave. They're mushy and they're breaded. They're not fried.
When we went to the Nardelli's they built right near the CSB in Farmington was never good.
Not good. Buffalo
you know that's not the only Nardelli's around, right?
There's
other Nardelli's.
I went to the original one in Naugatuck.
How was it?
When I went to it was the same as all the other ones. The same that was right next to my house in Meriden, the one across the street. They have all the deli meats. You can see the cutlets right there. That means they're not fresh. I want fresh cutlets on my hard roll.
Good. Let's rip Joe.
I will eat this Nardelli sandwich any day of the week, any time of the day.
On it already. You want the fresh cutlets in the fryer out. Then they layer the cheese on top. Throw it in. Then you pile everything on.
The Wethersfield Pizza House, just give me a chicken parm.
You could tell the difference between the Wethersfield chicken cutlets and the Nardelli's chicken cutlets. And Joe would admit that. You could.
Oh, yeah. I didn't say 1 and 2 were close.
Joe, where would you go to get your buffalo chicken wrap?
Anywhere. Again, I feel like it's hard to screw that up.
My meatball grinder almost slid in too, and an Italian sub. I know, Jace. I'm sorry. I like the cold cuts, but they're coming out of your pores. The deli meats.
Yeah, they do. They do. But I had to slide the old Italian in at number 5. That's just a great sandwich. It's a classic. You can always rely on it. Jersey Mike's makes a really great Italian sub.
They make a great steak and cheese too.
They certainly do. Yeah, that's I think the number 9. Yeah. Sometimes we order from them, and I'll literally grab a steak and cheese and an Italian sub. Not just for me. I mean, we get the big one and we cut it up.
Oh yeah, Joe, I love the Jersey Mike steak and cheese, especially the Chipotle mayo one. Oh
yes,
with the cheddar cheese, grilled peppers.
I'm gonna finish up with mine.
Trev hates buffalo chicken. Chicken parm, steak and cheese, bacon cheese, and a tuna sub.
Love tuna subs.
Trev, I'm going to tell you something.
Especially
You're going to like this. You're going to like this.
Is this the best list I've made so far?
This is great. I honestly, and I feel stupid for it, I love tuna subs. I'm a tuna
on a fresh hard roll.
Mm-hmm.
So nice, especially on the beach with a bag of Cape Cod chips on the side and a nice drink.
I had to think about it because I was like, meatball. I love meatball Parmesan. I like a nice cold cut sub, but man, tuna subs. I had tuna before the sandwich.
Just out of curiosity, did you put bacon cheeseburger before Ted asked if that counted as a sandwich?
When I go to a restaurant and it's a good burger, I'm getting a bacon cheeseburger. It's one of my favorites. It's always been one of my favorites. I love tuna. Thank you.
You know what?
I thought tuna was going to get a lot of backfire.
Teddy, how do you feel about tuna? I'm curious.
Love it.
Oh, all right. Hey,
I'm surprised. I really thought I was going to get a lot of backlash.
By him just putting on this list is making me think to run upstairs right now and go make a tuna sandwich on a rye with some Cheetos. Oh my God, tuna. I love in the summer. Me and Trev, and we know because we do this. My buddy Tommy. Every time we go to the beach, Tommy gets the fresh rolls from the deli every morning from Apple. He brings them over in the morning. Get the potato rolls because they're sweeter than the normal Kaiser rolls. You cut them up. You put the tuna on. You do two, 3 cans. You got to get the good mayo. Don't be cheap. Squeeze it, and then you throw the chips on. I think Trev's list is the best one of all.
Have you ever taken your tuna?
I did not expect that to happen.
Have you ever taken your tuna, throw it on a pan with salt and pepper, some garlic, and cook up the tuna, and then apply it to your sandwich? Have you ever tried that?
I don't like tuna like that, but no, I have not tried that.
It is. I got to tell you, dude, if you think tuna in a can with some mayo is good, fry that stuff up. A little salt and pepper, garlic, cook that up.
The tuna, you know where you have to add the tuna? It's game-changing. Add bacon.
Oh, I've done bacon and tuna. Yeah, it's amazing. That's an amazing feeling.
If you put bacon on anything, if you put bacon on someone's butt, I'd eat the bacon.
Okay, then. Whoa.
Breaking news here on Keys to the City.
Hey, listen, Chef, you know what else? I mean, because if we were naming places and things, I would have been like, Now, it wouldn't be my top 5 sandwiches, but if I was going here, Randall's pastrami.
Oh, pastrami, a good pastrami
On
sandwich.
rye with cheddar cheese.
That would be in my top 10. That would probably be my top 10.
More
Meatball.
pastrami.
I like
meatball grinder was actually in my top 5, and I
Let me
put the
think.
bacon.
How do you guys feel about Joe? How do you feel about this eggplant parmesan grinder?
Nope.
Like eggplant?
I'd rather have sausage and peppers.
Really?
I'd rather do the real
sausage
thing.
and peppers.
Sausage and peeps. Yeah.
Sausage and peeps, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, what else? What's another one?
Hot dogs and peppers.
What's the other one? Not prosciutto. I bought
gabagool,
some.
gabagool.
Oh, listen, yeah.
Caprese with the pesto and the fresh moots and the prosciutto and the tomato.
Antonio's. You got to bring him to Antonio's and get him.
Bring me to Antonio's. Listen, my wife sent me out. She makes this like prosciutto and cantaloupe. It's good, but I bought so much prosciutto, and I had bought some rolls, some hard rolls.
No, that's disgusting.
Ooh-wee.
No, Joe. No, Jace. No,
That's
Thanksgiving
not top 10
leftovers.
sandwich, though.
Thanksgiving leftover sandwich, turkey,
I have made that before. What you do is you take the turkey and the stuff and you throw it in the pan, you cook it up.
Let me say this for all the people
you
that
take
are
the cranberry
watching.
sauce, you spread it over the bread, you throw mashed potatoes and stuff in the turkey and gravy.
Let me say this to all of to all of our followers. Thanksgiving food is probably one of the most overrated type food in the world. It's very overrated. Turkey, stuffing, you can eat that stuff for one day, and that's it. I can't eat it for as much as people like to eat it. People love Thanksgiving food, but I do love my mom's stuffing. Very good stuffing. But other than that, Thanksgiving food's overrated. Give me Christmas.
I love stovetop stuffing, and I would eat it anytime. But I agree with you in general. I think Thanksgiving's stupid. I mean, the sentiment's there, but why do we eat turkey?
I say Thanksgiving's stupid.
Why do we eat turkey? What is? I wouldn't eat turkey. I don't eat turkey any other time of the year. I mean, it's kind of a gamey meat for my liking.
You don't do turkey?
I would. No, you know what I prefer? You know what I like to make? My favorite thing to cook is rotisserie chicken. I'll cook a couple of big rotisserie chickens. Nobody like turkey.
Is that what you guys do? Is that what you guys do for Thanksgiving?
That's what I do for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I make rotisserie chickens, and they're banging because the chickens like slides off the bone. Cook at high heat, short time.
What do you guys feel
what do you got?
Pulled pork sandwich.
Pulled porks and Cubans are also great sandwiches if you get them at the right place.
Yeah, Nardelli's for you, right? I'm only kidding, Joe. All love. We're going to be back next week doing, as Ted came up, top 5 side dishes. So that will be next week's food of choice. And I'm going to take, next week will be our top 10 offensive players, or do you want to do top 10 offensive players, non-quarterbacks, or?
I thought we did this already.
No, we did not. We did top 10 defensive players. We did top 10 defensive players. We did not do top 10 offensive players, non-quarterbacks.
Oh, all right.
We've done top 10 quarterbacks. We've done top 10 players. We've done top 10 defensive players, coaches. Now we're going to be doing top 10 offensive players, non-quarterbacks.
Top 10 Nardelli sandwiches that you cannot eat.
0. I'd have none.
Listen, but I mean, if they were the only, I mean, here's the thing.
Jersey Mike's is better than Nardelli's.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But here's my thing. I like the old.
I like the real.
I like it. So this is just like the coaches. It's a very subjective list.
No, Joe, you deserve
to get. Because you don't like it, don't get yelled at me.
No, because Joe deserves.
Just because you don't like mushy chicken.
Joe deserves to get ripped because he rips my list all the time.
I love your lists.
Joe, you had the worst list by far in both lists, I'd say you had the worst list.
Wow.
No.
I
don't think so.
I think you had when you put a coordinator before a head coach, you lost.
I think based on the reaction from the comment section, I think I won the day.
So be it. We all win. We all do.
Listen, if you all walk away feeling like a winner, what does it matter what anybody thinks?
See.
Unless you're all by myself.
Well, can we hurry up and finish this show so I can go eat something because I'm hungry? I need to eat a hot sandwich.
He wants a tuna sandwich now. Joe's going to get Nardelli's. Ladies and
I'll
gentlemen,
tell you though, Joe. You know what the best is though? The
he wants
rotisserie
to end the show, but he's back.
The rotisserie chicken in the next couple of days, like if you pull it off the bone, you put it in the bowl, chop it all up, and then you throw your shredded cheese over it, put it on toast, then you dabble it up, make a nice rotisserie chicken sandwich. It's phenomenal. Really juicy.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm down for that now.
Put a little barbecue sauce with it too.
Cheddar cheese, bacon, barbecue sauce, French fries on the side.
God.
Trev, too bad you don't live around here anymore. I'd cook you up some nice rotisserie chicken. I would.
No, you probably just said it's you, but you got it from Nardelli's. Anyway,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week. We'll be talking about the Yanks and Sox, a big series coming up. Also, our top 10 list. Like I said, top 10 offensive players, non-quarterbacks, and our top 5 side dishes. So we'll be all back for that next week. And if any more breaking news happens, we'll be more too as well.
One last thought, because I was thinking of tuna, and then I thought of Tua. Tua Tagovailoa was 8 for 12 for 99 yards in his very first preseason start, and everybody was like, oh, he's going to be great. And he hasn't been. So just a word of caution not to read too much into Justin Fields just yet. Great sign, but doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So comment, subscribe, like, or share. We'll be back during the week. Everybody have a great weekend. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.